again, and welcome to the Author Roundup. This special segment of the Book Connection show showcases emerging indie authors who join us for a discussion of their newly published books. Join us for a conversation with our next guest author. Welcome to Author Roundup. Thank you for joining. If you're new here, I'm Emma. I'm one of the hosts on our show, and if you're back, welcome. Today I have another guest author, and his name is Dr. Charles Zeller. Dr. Zeller is the self-published author of the Benevolent School of Witches, the Coven of Five, released in February of this year. This book is his debut novel and first venture into writing fantasy. Please welcome Dr. Zeller to the show. Hi, how are you today?
Hello, everybody. Hi, good, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So can you tell us about your new book? Congratulations on being an author.
Thank you. It's my first endeavor into writing a novel, and it was quite a venture and an ordeal, if you will, almost.
Really? Okay. Well, can you tell us about the plot a little bit?
It's a classic story of good versus greed,
Okay.
and it involves it's kind of in the realm of almost Harry Potter, and it's about a school of benevolent witches, which are good witches. And they are basically orphans who were selected because of their special powers, and they are educated in flying and telekinesis and making potions. And their school, which is in Germany, is financed by a gold and silver mine that happens to be on the ground. And the workers who mine are the nobodies, which is a mutant type of race. They don't have any bodies. They're basically, their arms and their legs come out of their head. So they're very flat, and they can certainly get into all the crevices to do mining.
Okay.
And it involves evil or villain Gustav and his henchman Maximilian, who own a jewelry facility, trying to take over the gold and silver mine at the expense of ruining the school.
Okay. And so the school, what inspired you to create this world about this school is for orphan girls, and it teaches both traditional academics and magical, type of arts. What inspired you for that kind of dual school and fantasy world?
Well, I liked very much reading Harry Potter.
Okay.
And I read Harry
Me
Potter with
too.
my daughter, who is now 38. So when she was probably around 10, I
Right.
read Harry Potter with her. And I thought that Harry Potter was kind of slanted, if you will, more for boys.
Mm-hmm.
Although, of course, Hermione Granger was a girl and a major character. And I decided that that would be a nice venue, but I wanted to slant it more toward young girls.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very cool. And the blend of, fantasy and adventure and social purpose is very unique to your story. Was there a particular message or theme you wanted to explore throughout your novel?
Basically, that greed will get you into trouble,
Okay.
and you need to stick to your good principles. You
Okay.
need to be benevolent in what you
Right. There
aspire
you
to do in life.
go. Okay. And can you discuss a little bit more about the school and its mission to educate these girls? Why was that element or the mission important to you to make known to readers?
It was basically to provide education to girls in orphanages, and these had special powers. And
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany, who is the matron or the runs the school, would educate these
Oh,
people, and they would go to different areas of the world and using their powers and their predictive abilities to make a better society.
okay. And so for the school, how did you develop the I guess curriculum and magical abilities taught at the school?
Oh, a lot of that is stolen from Harry Potter and Rowling,
Okay.
but a lot of it is stolen. I think that the real thing to get into is the nobodies. Where did the
Yeah,
nobodies
okay.
come
Yeah,
from?
talk about the nobodies.
Well, my son, who is now 40,
Okay.
when he was a young boy in school, I guess they had a psychological test that you had to draw a person. And he basically drew a circle with arms and legs coming out of it. And because of that, they said he was very emotionally delayed and might quite possibly on the spectrum for autism.
Mm.
And we used to kid him about that, and it was a joke among the family. And I decided to run with that. And his sister, who's again 38, she's active in the arts. She's an actress and stand-up comedy. She always prodded me to do something with that.
Okay.
So I must say that my son is presently, just to go on with that, he's presently one of the heads of IT for Barclays Bank. So I don't think that they were right in their assessment. He
Yeah.
graduated from Cornell, so I think they were
Wow.
wrong. I think they were
Impressive.
wrong.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool that you tied that into the book, because that's a very unique aspect of it. And, the whole gold and silver mining, that's crucial to the school survival. I think that's really cool.
And it reminds me of the Oompa Loompas, if you will, from Charlie and the
Yes.
Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, yeah, it
That-
does.
That's
Yeah.
kind of a parallel to that.
Okay. And so you mentioned a little bit too about this compelling villain in your story, with the dangerous obsession. Can you tell us about him and his henchmen?
Well, he has a jewelry store and he just wants to take over the gold and silver mine so he could basically have a monopoly in Europe over everybody else because he would have wholesale access to the mine. And he
Hmm.
becomes obsessed with taking that over and has one plot after another in trying to wrest control away from Tiffany and the girls and the students.
Okay. And so you mentioned Tiffany Galloway. She's a teacher character you introduce in your book, and her coven of students, and they seem like a powerful force. How did you go about developing their powers and personalities and the way they interact to defeat the
Well,
the villain?
well, well, everyone in my book is based on a real person, but their real names, of course, have changed. And all
Oh,
of
I
the
love that.
all of the witches are based on my daughters and my first cousin. So I have great
Oh,
insight into their personalities, their idiosyncrasies, and their quirks.
nice. Okay.
And all of them have enjoyed reading the book, although I get some criticism from them that that's what I really think of them. But they
Yeah. They're like, oh, thank you, but
yeah,
no.
thank you, but not no thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I love that you've, pulled so much inspiration from different parts, Harry Potter and Willy Wonka, and then, real life family and friends. I really like that, that you take so much inspiration and now that it's a completed book. Were there any other particular books or films or even folklore that inspired this story?
Well, all of them, the Tolkien, the Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings, and the Hobbit, and of course cartoon characters from long ago. This all went into it. I mean, I'm getting old. I'm 71, so I guess I have a long history of this stuff.
Yeah, very cool. So Harry Potter is like target wise, reading wise, is very broad, but usually, meant for younger adults. What age group or type of reader do you think will connect most deeply with your novel?
Probably about 10 to 30.
Okay.
And I wrote basically tried to write it more for a younger audience, but I have some more advanced vocabulary that they would be forced to look up in a dictionary. And
Okay.
that's something that I did as a young boy. I would
Okay.
always enjoyed reading and I always carried a dictionary with me.
Yeah.
So if I
Yeah.
didn't know a word, I would look it up.
Look it up. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I think that's fun. I think that's a really nice part of reading anyway. So yeah, that's cool that you mentioned that. So people can, be aware. So when did you start writing your book?
Oh boy, about 7 years ago.
Really? Okay.
And I must say, as you know, I'm a full-time orthopedic surgeon, and I'm a
Right.
traveling physician. So I basically at night looked for something to do and decided that I was going to run with this. So every night for 1 or 2 hours, I would write. And it's a lot harder than you think because if you're only writing for an hour or two, you have to keep rereading from the beginning to make it consistent that you're not changing, not like you have 10 students here and now all of a sudden it's 20. You have to keep reading it to make it flow. So I
Yeah.
would say I probably have read this book about 500 times.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And 1 to 2 hours can go pretty quickly. I feel like when you're really trying to get a solid, thing going with words and storyline and things like that. But yeah, that takes a lot of, dedication. Your work is very important, and I'm sure, long hours. So yeah, it's great that you were able to get this out, and accomplish being an author. And how did it feel for you to hold your book in your hand when you got it in the mail? How did that make you feel?
Oh, it feels great, and it's an accomplishment. And
Yeah,
then
for
you, on
sure.
the other hand, you think, boy, I'm glad I'm finished with this. And
Yeah,
then people, some of the people who've read it said, "Are you going to write a sequel?" And first they said, "Oh no," but now I am started on a sequel. I
nice.
did
I was
start
gonna
on a
say,
sequel.
yeah, Harry Potter had like seven, so.
There were seven. That's
But there's
correct.
a
Yeah.
lot, but with your story, there's a lot, that you can expand on and things, with like characters and, so that's great. How's the,
Well,
go
Well,
ahead.
I gave the book to someone, to one of my cousins to read, and unbeknownst to me, she had a book club that she had them read, and they had me come speak to them, and they all had suggestions as for sequels, which I wrote down. So they really have pointed me in many directions to go.
Oh, that's nice. That's a good
You,
compliment. They really were dedicated to seeing a sequel. That means they liked the first one, right? Yeah.
they did, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And how is it writing, or how is it going writing the second one compared to your first one? Are you taking anything that you learned from your experience with the first one, or is it a lot more easier the second time around so far?
I am using a lot of the comments from the professional editors that you try to have more dialogue than describing things.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that is a something that I gleaned from them.
Okay. And as far as your experience writing, as a first time author, what was your experience like writing, or how did you come up with your routine? I guess you just had to accommodate your full-time job, and did you write on weekends?
I said that I'm a traveling physician. I'm on the road a lot.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah, so
at
you're traveling
night,
weekends too.
after I go to the gym, I would sit down and have myself do this for 1 to 2 hours, so 3 to 4 times a week.
So then this became like kind of like a job too. If you didn't treat it like a job, it probably wouldn't have,
Right.
happened, you would say.
You-
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you got to stick with
Consistent.
it because there is this thing called writer's block, and all of a sudden
Right,
you
yeah.
stop and don't know where am I going to go with this.
Right,
And
yeah.
sometimes you just have to put it down.
Yeah,
You do.
yeah. And get back to it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And did you know anything about self-publishing before you chose Author House, or was that something you discovered when you decided wanted to seek publishing?
Not at all. When I finished it, I looked around and researched on the internet, and Author House was the person who called me up was very personable. And that's probably why I went with her, the very first person I spoke to.
Okay, nice. And what was your favorite part of the publishing process? I mean, editing can be the most time consuming, but was there a part of the process that you enjoyed the most, or anything that surprised you, maybe?
No, rewriting it with the comments from the editors was interesting to get a
Yeah.
professional person to look at it to tell you how to rewrite it. And initially, you are mad about it because it's your baby and they're criticizing you. But
Of
once
course.
you get into it, you realize how right they were.
Right. Yeah.
You really realize how right they were.
Yeah. And that acceptance. Yeah. Because they just want to make it better, improve it. Yeah. Nice. Okay.
Again, this is not my main job, so like I'm an
Right.
orthopedist. If
Yeah.
I tell you what to do orthopedically, that I know. This is kind of I'm a novice at it, so I had to glean from people who've been doing it for a while.
Yeah. And and did family and friends and I guess coworkers know that you were writing a book? What were their thoughts that you published a book?
The only person that I knew was my wife, and when I finished it, I had sent the copy to my daughter in New York City, who's active in theater and reading and writing skits, and she was probably my worst critic. It was
Oh
my daughter.
no. Oh
And
yeah. Okay.
she sent it back with numerous comments that I addressed.
Yeah. And what about coworkers? Did they know that you published a book?
Oh, they do now, but I didn't
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
anybody in the process,
And the
no.
process, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And what was your favorite or most fun part in your book to write? Do you have a favorite section or chapter in your book that you really, really enjoyed
Oh,
writing?
I like describing the girls and their idiosyncrasies and how I see my daughters and my
Others, yeah.
cousin.
Because
To
you're like,
me,
I know
that
all
was
this.
that was just a hoot for me.
Yeah, yeah, I
'Cause,
bet that was really fun. Yeah.
and it's hard, you see somebody every day, but it's hard to put down in writing
Right.
that.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. So that was kind of a little challenge for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And
And
what,
each one of them when they got the book, of course, had to read their chapter.
yeah.
There's a separate chapter for each one of them. Oh, they had to read that right away.
Yeah. And how is it going from the beginning of writing your book to the end of your book? Did anything surprise you as far as like did in the beginning were you like set on certain things you wanted in it, or was the ending kind of like, okay, I didn't know that it would take this direction, and I'm glad that it did, maybe.
I kind of just let it flow.
Yeah.
I know you should have made an outline, but I didn't. I just went with what I felt that day
Yeah, no, if it
until I
works for
got
you,
to the end.
yeah. That's great. Yeah. And you mentioned writer's block and putting it down when, you feel like you really do need a break. Was that the most difficult part of your writing process, or was there anything difficult that you would say that stood out as far as your writing process?
That was the most difficult process. And
Okay.
again, discussing with my daughter about it, she told me, nope, that happens. You just have to put it down and come back, and all of a sudden you'll get a new insight.
Yeah. Okay. And what's been the nicest feedback or review you've received about your book so far?
Oh, the nicest to me was them inviting me to that book club to
Oh,
discuss it. I
yeah.
mean, I think that was just great, and
Yeah.
how people really got into it.
Yeah, yeah. How does that feel to have a book? How does that feel to have your book be in a book club?
Oh, it's a great feeling. I mean, it's surprising how people get into the characters and why did they do this and how did they
Yeah.
do that? It's they really like to take on the characters.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And what as a new author, obviously this process is fresh in your mind. What advice would you give to a writer like really longing and wishing to publish their own book?
You got to stick with it and do it. Just stick
Mm.
with your process and do it. Sometimes it's tedious, but stick with it. And the end
Mhm.
product you'll feel very proud of.
Yeah. And what about your wife? How does she feel about your book? What does she like about your book?
Well, initially she thought I was wasting my time. She was not a big supporter
Oh,
until I
no.
finished it, and then now she's a big supporter.
She's like, yeah, you did it. Nice.
Yeah, well, she kept saying, "Why are you doing this? You're wasting your time. You have something better to do." And I said, "No, this is something that I want to
This is
do."
what I want to do. Yeah.
But after I finished it, she's very much on board now.
That's good. Yeah. Well, how
I'll
much?
I'll tell you one thing I should bring up. And my books have illustrations.
Oh,
Okay,
okay. I
the
didn't know.
very first illustration is of a witch from my granddaughter,
Oh,
and
wow.
she is about 8 years old.
Oh,
So when I
nice.
sent her a copy of the book, she opened it up and found her illustration and then proceeded to tell me, Grandpa, why is my name not on the front of the book?
Maybe the next one.
Right, what I told her. Maybe the next one I'll give you billing, okay? But she was, yeah, my name should be on the book too.
That's so cute. Oh my gosh. Was she excited that she saw her picture in there?
Oh yeah. Oh, she took the
Yeah.
book to
Oh, that's
school.
so
Oh, she took it
sweet.
to school. Oh yeah.
Oh, my picture's in here. That's so cool. Very nice.
Hmm.
So how far are you into the second book? Do you foresee you finishing that up like this year or next year, or how's it going with the second
Oh,
one?
by next year. It's
Okay.
much. I'm
Much
more into about. I'm about 30 or 40 pages in. Yes.
Okay, nice. Okay. Very nice. Well, is there anything else that you want to mention today? Or I guess one of the questions I have is what is the one message or even feeling you hope readers take away from your book?
Oh, I think this is a good book for young girls and readers to read, and just about doing good in life and benevolent and
Yeah,
watching out for greed. And I think it's a nice telling book, and it's a light read for that audience.
yeah. And you mentioned when you were younger, you read, books and you carried around a dictionary with you. What would you say, or what do you think your younger self would say, or knowing that you published an actual book, what do you think your younger self would think or say?
Oh boy, I have no idea. That's way far out of what I did because I was in science and medicine for all
Yeah,
wrong. It's just kind
right.
of not my ballywick, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Completely different side, left brain versus right brain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Well, that's very exciting. I'm so glad that you did. I'm so glad that you stuck with it and used your creativity because, it was definitely there and I think it's a huge accomplishment and, with your medical career, that's a huge accomplishment and now you've done another huge accomplishment. So I think that's really cool and I hope it's been a great experience for you.
It has, it has.
Good. Very good.
I,
Good.
I would recommend Author House to other first-time authors.
Oh, nice. That's very great. Well, is there any place that readers can find you once they purchase your book? Do you have a website or anything, or any social media or anything like that where they can reach you if they want to, discuss your writing?
Yeah, I am on Facebook,
Okay.
which is old, I understand. And I believe we're coming up with a website now for the book that's not
Okay.
up yet. That's coming.
Okay. Very cool. Well, is there anything else that you want to mention today or share with our audience today, Doctor?
No, just go out and buy the book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please go out and buy the book. Um,
Yes.
Well, awesome. I'm so happy your book is out and we hope to see more from you in the future and thank you for taking the time to today to be with me today.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And if you like Dr. Charles' book and you want to purchase it, you can find it on authorhouse.com through the online bookstore. It also is available on Amazon and Barnes& and Noble. And if you do purchase, please leave him a review. I know he would greatly appreciate that. And thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.